Hey guys, if you have a client that just wants super minimal dimension in their hair, then this is the perfect service for you. This will give them kind of a stronger money piece, but really minimal pieces throughout the rest of their hair. You can follow me on Instagram at Christy at the Cottage. All right, here's my client's before. You can see it's actually pretty long, but the ends need a good snip. So we're gonna trim it a little bit and do some more layering.
Well, it's the end of the week. It's Friday. I never work Fridays. So if I look like crap, what are we talking about? I usually always never look amazing. So if I look like crap, that's just on par with the rest of everything else. So no, I never work Fridays, and the reason why I am working on Fridays because a long time ago a client messaged me and I think it was the only day she could get in. And I was like, yeah, I'll just put you on a Friday. And then all week I've been like, I have to work Friday and dreading it. But I'm trying to have a positive attitude. I'm trying to be thankful to the Lord that I have been blessed with a clientele, that I have to find her on a day off that I can work because I'm booked out so far. So thank you, Jesus. I appreciate what you have given me. So I'm gonna switch my attitude from being negative to being thankful. So what we are doing today is, thankfully also, the color really shouldn't take that long. She has really, really dark hair. It's really long. Don't mind my nails from a color lesson. I didn't wear gloves. But she just wants a chocolate money piece and maybe a few strands. I've been seeing it's been kind of popular to do what I read in an article called flash foils, which isn't the term that I would use it for, but where you basically just take little pieces, the minute little pieces, and just brighten those up. So we're gonna just do a few pieces of those and then mostly the money piece area. So that's what we are going to do today. I'm gonna be really happy about it. Just a little story time while I'm mixing my bleach here. So by the way, if you're looking at my eyebrow right here, it's because I have to get them touched up still. So I know about my eyebrows. So there's a whole bunch of fellows that are working on the brick on the building across the street. And I was like, they've been here for almost 2 weeks. I thought I'm just gonna be nice and get them all a dozen donuts or something. So while I was waiting for my client, I was going to order them, DoorDash them some donuts. And I was about to hit send. $25 for some donuts. Are you kidding me? These prices for everything is getting crazy. It wasn't even it was the fees. It was maybe $15 for the donuts. And then it was that added fees and tip and all of that stuff that jumped it up an extra $10. I'm like, no, I'm not spending $25 on some donuts. I love myself some donuts. I ain't paying $25 for donuts that I'm not even gonna have. So anyways, just wanted to share that I think prices are getting bonkers.
All right, so back to her hair, and I'm asking her right now, is this where she generally always parts her hair? So it is, so we're just gonna start in the front. I normally do my hairline foils, but because she doesn't necessarily wanna be bright all the way around her hairline, we're just gonna start at the money piece right here. So I'm taking a pretty generous size right here, and I'm going to weave it and back comb it, and that's gonna create a little bit of a cushion just at the very root. She wants it to be a little bit more bold of a money piece, but she doesn't want it to be necessarily super strappy and tight up to the root where she's gonna have really bad grow out. So doing a weave and then back combing it will help it have just a little bit softer of a grow out and blend into her roots a little bit more. So just in regards to lifting really dark hair, I hear a lot of people say that they have a hard time getting good lift when they're working with dark hair. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really laying it on really thick, the amount of bleach that I'm using. I feel like a lot of people, You know, with really fine hair or lighter hair, you can apply like a really small, thin amount of bleach. But with dark hair, you really have to add a really, really thick, like almost toothpaste layer to the hair and really saturate it fully. That's gonna help you get the best lift when you're dealing with dark hair. So for this next section right here, we're just gonna take not even as big of a section as before. We're gonna do a little bit thinner of a slice, a little bit thinner of a section, weave it, and then back comb it again, and repeat the same thing, just apply the lightener. And because she doesn't want it like too strappy of a section, I asked her how thick of a money piece do you want, and she kind of pointed out where I was at and said this is about, you know, the size that she wants. If somebody wants like an extremely bold money piece, they can always do like, you know, do slices all the way up to the root if they want it to stand out a lot. Or you know, this is her kind of showing where she wants the money piece to be at, and so she's happy with the size of it. So there's lots of different ways to do a money piece depending on what your client wants. If they want it to be really blended or really bright and bold, just weave it, back comb it, or just do straight slices if they want it more bold. So whatever your client wants, talk to them about it, how bright they want it, see pictures, and then do the money piece according to what their preference is. Oh my gosh, I'm such a loser. Like, I always try to talk about the haircut beforehand, and we did before, but I guess I just forgot the facial framing part. So her facial framing is actually pretty long, and with the money piece that we're doing, I'm glad that I asked because I would have been cutting off like a large majority of the color that we're doing. So I'm re-trimming her facial framing right now, so that way when we do the color, I can make sure that she's gonna have some coming through the length of her facial framing instead of just, you know, just dropping off right at her chin area. So now I'm gonna go through and just make sure everything's even. I'm gonna start cutting this a little bit longer just because those pieces that are in the foil are gonna fall a little bit shorter than what this is. And then I'm going to start foiling kind of off of the sides of the money piece just to help bring some of that color down into the facial framing area a little bit more. All right, now that we got the facial framing resolved, I'm going to start my next sectioning for her foil, and I'm gonna go directly under where she parts her hair at the very edge of the money piece section that we did. And you can see this hair is a little bit longer than the facial framing, and this is gonna fall towards her face. So all of that color that we would have cut off if we did the color and then cut her facial framing, we could have potentially been cutting off any of that, like the blonde, not blonde, but like, because that's not the color we're doing, but when we tone it, the caramely tone that we're doing, we would have potentially cut off all of those longer pieces, and then she would have been left with just like a really bright money piece and then nothing through the rest of the length of her facial framing. So that's why we're now going to go through and add this piece, because this will fall a little bit longer than her money piece, and that color will extend down through the ends of her facial framing. So we're going to do this on both sides again. Just weave, back comb so it blends, and this is going to fall underneath her hair. So it's not going to be anything that she's going to see on top. It's just going to be where she sees it through the ends of her facial framing. You guys, this is really the easiest foil, so I'm just going about 1/2 inch behind the money piece to leave her some of her natural, And we're just gonna take the smallest little section. I'm just gonna take the smallest little weaves, back comb them, these little strands of hair, and foil as, you know, feather up into the root area, so that leaves her a little bit of some grow out, because again, she doesn't want it to be like too strong of a grow out. She wants it to look really minute and natural and just teeny little pieces. So doing it this way, I feel like is really easy, because sometimes if you like work on one side and go on the other side, like if you just paint these teeny little strands, those can get lost in the hair, and then you have to make sure that you're doing the same exact spot on the other side. But then what if they part their hair on the side, then like all of that color might fall on just one side of the head. So I like to just go straight down the mohawk and just weave thin little pieces and back comb it, and it's gonna blend really nicely, and it's not gonna be too heavy of a little piece that's falling down the sides of their head. You'll see when I'm done that these are still just really fine little strands of hair, because we are back combing it and weaving it. It's just gonna fall evenly on both sides of the head. You're gonna have balance, and you're not gonna have to worry about wherever she parts her hair. If she grabs a little bit more on one side or the other, is she gonna have balance, or is all the blonde or the color gonna fall on the other side of the head and not this side? So if you just go straight down the center, or if they part their hair on the side, if you work off the side of their head, then you'll make sure that no matter where the hair falls, they have those little bits of color on either side. So I'm really just doing maybe like, I can't remember, like maybe 5 foils back or something like that. It's really, really simple. I'm just going back beyond you know, where her part ends, and we're just gonna do one more foil back there to make sure she has a few little strands falling in the back also. It's like literally the simplest foil. I'm all about working smarter, not harder. I know people want to do like a balayage and just go through and paint little strands of hair, and I feel like you're just creating too much work for yourself, because now you have to go through maybe and do like 3 times as much work to make sure you're getting these different pieces evenly throughout the hair. Or if you just go through the top of the head, straight down the mohawk center, just put in 5 foils, it's going to fall evenly all around her head on both sides. So we're just going to finish up these little foils, and because we're not trying to lift to like a 10 or anything, she doesn't have to process too long. So we're going for like level 7, level 8, because she wants to stay nice and chocolatey, just kind of like a warm, lighter brown color. So she's only going to process for maybe 30 minutes. So now that she's done processing, we're going to check her hair, see how she's lightened, and is she done? Do I need to reapply? That's another thing with dark hair. I feel like people don't reapply their hair. They don't know to reapply, so then they get stuck at like a level 6 or 7. Always reapply if you need to. And then also you'll see me blast her hair with heat just to punch it out of this like level 6. So we're just going to finish that up, and she'll just finish up like 10 minutes after this part of the service. All right, when it comes to using heat on your clients, this is about as much as I do. Usually the hair is already lightened, and it's just those last few foils that you're waiting on. So I always just blast them with some heat. I never put them under the dryer. So you can see that she lifted really nicely, got to that perfect level 7, 8, which is all we wanted to get to.
Okay, so my client is lifted probably to like a 7, 8 or so. She doesn't want to be too light. She kind of wants to stay probably like a level 5, 6. So I think we're ready to rinse. We obviously don't want her to get too much lighter. So she wants to be like a chocolate color. So what I'm thinking that I'm going to mix her with is this 6, which is a dark blonde chocolate. And then I think I might add just like some straight natural like 5, or actually no, I have some 565, which is a light brown chocolate gold. So that might also be, I think I'll mix those two together. So the 565 and 6.
Okay, so I'm doing half and half of these together with 6 volume, and I'm letting this sit for about 15 minutes. All right, you can see here as I'm blow drying that it's really soft into the root area, and then it gradually gets more bold through like the midsection through the ends. So that's perfect because it will be a little bit brighter and more bold, but still really soft at the root area. And here's perfect to see those little strands through the rest of her hair. Doing that weave and back combing it, sometimes a weave looks heavy, but you can see as I'm combing that those little strands are still just very, very subtle little slivers of color through the rest of her hair. And a lot of you guys always ask, like, how do I style my clients' hair? But I know a lot of you guys also really don't like watching the styling part. So I'm just going to leave a few little clips of how I curl the hair. So I'll smooth the root out just to get the frizz and then smooth the ends out. And then I usually just curl like 2 or 3 times around in the midsection. And I curl all of the hair towards the center back on both sides. And that's gonna help create just a really nice, soft, loose wave. I let the curl set and dry or cool down before I comb it out. And then you can see here as I'm combing that she has a really nice soft root, no frizz. The curl doesn't go that high up into the crown area. And then through the ends are nice and relaxed also. So that's what helps create more of a nice soft body wave. Just make sure you're curling everything to the back center. And here I am just showing her hair, making sure that the tone is okay. Is it too warm? Is the tone perfect? And she's really happy with how it turned out. So here's her before again. We just took up a little snip of the end since she's trying to get her length. And sometimes you just have to go through and add a little bit of layering to get those dead ends off. And here is the after. She was really happy with the color, like the perfect caramely chocolatey brown. And it looks really good with her natural color too. So I hope you guys like this video. You can see those little pieces coming through a little bit more. They're dimensional, but they're not like such high contrasting, such chunky big pieces that they're gonna grow out really harshly or anything. They blend really nicely up into the root, but they're just like the perfect little dimensional pieces of color to break up the hair. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you like this, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and also just watch through the end of the video if you want to go on a little donut journey with me.
Okay. I couldn't order any donuts, but I got off work really early, and so I thought there's like a grocery store just right down the road. So I went and grabbed some donuts. Don't mind my gross fingers.
So they didn't have like a largest box. So they had like, I grabbed some powdered, some cake crunch, and good old fashioned. And I'm not gonna have any myself. I thought I'd bring your crew some donuts. You guys are all working so hard. Yeah. Oh.